So I felt it wouldn't be right of me with the channel that I have to not cover this kind of controversy going on. So 12 Minutes obviously has been out for several days. We've done videos on it. We talked about the ending. We talked about the twists. We did a walkthrough. And, over the weekend and over, into now the first couple days of the week, you've really started to see social media explode with it in the way that a lot of people have some very strong things to say. Now, here's what I have to say, okay? I think it's, again, pretty hilarious, the people that are crying over this. Now, am I saying it's not okay for you to not like the game? No, you have every right to think literally whatever you want of the game, okay? If you didn't like it, if you didn't like the twist, and by the way, you can watch the videos I made, I've said I'm not a big fan of the twist. Again, there's two parts to the twist, and this is spoilers, by the way. There's you being the killer, but then there's also your relationship to your wife, and it's really that second part that has, and I guess how the game ends, I assume without really any consequences to your character, right? That is the thing that's really upsetting people. You have people comparing it to David Cage in his games, because David Cage is, in fact, the boogeyman of video games. I don't think he's the greatest guy of all time, but I did actually really love Heavy Rain. I love Detroit Become Human. That's just kind of my 2 cents, but you're seeing a lot of people say that. I saw a lot of people, and these, by the way, are all blue check marks. These are all gaming journalists. These are all people that, again, are, I think, a little bit too soft just overall. I've seen people say, like, there's very few games they hate more than 12 minutes. Like, basically, this is striking a major chord in people. To be flat out honest with you, there's not even too much I can say about it besides that. It's funny. Again, I'm not saying that you're not allowed to not like it or like it. And that's another thing, too, is these people, by the way, these are the ones that would tell you, even though they're the ones that say, everybody be yourself, everybody think for yourself, everybody just act like yourself. These would probably be the people that demand that you not play the game, that guilt you if you did play the game, that you're probably some evil person. I wouldn't be surprised if there's some sort of connection between that happens over the next couple of days. It's funny, though. It just is. I don't know. And this is one of those tough things, because I do think games have every right to, and I actually do like it pretty overwhelmingly when they do spark some sort of like feeling in you, and because that's kind of the difference, right, between games that do that and then games that are just fun, or they're just like feel good games, and there's nothing wrong with either of them. You know what I mean? It's even the same thing with movies. I think movies having political messages isn't inherently wrong. It's just when they shove it in your throat. It's when that's the entire premise. It's when every movie is like that, is when there's all these rules, and if you don't do that, you're considered some sort of evil person, or you don't like those movies, so you're considered some sort of evil person. There's a big fight, really, that's going on, I would say, right now in entertainment that's like that, right? Like, you have a game like Ratchet and Clank. That didn't make me feel some, like, immense feel. However, though, it did make me just feel happy. I did just have fun playing Ratchet and Clank the entire time. You know what I mean? There are games like that. Then there's games like The Last of Us Part 2 that, while I didn't like several story decisions, or actually quite a bit of what they chose to do with the story, I mean, it was a good game besides that, but that game is going to spark a feeling in you one way or the other. That's kind of what the game is designed to do. And there's, again, nothing inherently wrong with that. So that's what's tough about it with 12 minutes, you know what I mean? Because I get it. This is a game that is kind of marketed on, again, like the interactive, a thriller, right? That it's a man stuck in a time loop. And, I don't know if the game is all that much fun to play. In fact, I mean, I don't think it's a bad game to play. I think the gameplay is pretty solid for what it's trying to be. But I guess what the quality of the game is rests upon its shock, its twists, things like that. That's kind of what it is, it's up to. But I have seen people say, like the drugging of your wife and then knocking out the cop, like those are some, like, just, inhumane things that you can, like, never get over. I mean, let's put things into perspective a little bit here. I don't even know why that's being such a big deal. Like, again, actually, these are probably the people that praised The Last of Us Part 2, in which Ellie and Abby go on to kill just hundreds of people. Even my personal gaming savior, Nathan Drake, right? One of my favorite, if not my favorite gaming characters of all time. He's murdered thousands. And yes, it's under the blanket of, well, it's a fun time and there's jokes and he's a nice guy. But I mean, let's not forget that he's killing thousands of people. He should go to jail. You know what I mean? So it's like, you can't have those. You can have those double standards, like those things can exist in games, but when you want to be this anal about it and cry and really just express your feelings as much as these gaming journalists, which again does not surprise me. It does not surprise me the people that are doing this. Kotaku wrote a fantastically awful article about it. I'm seeing very I guess similar names or names that I've seen before that, you know, have certain opinions that are just pretty funny in the gaming industry. They've spoken out about it. But again, it really is all like double standards. If you have a problem with, you know, doing this drugging your wife thing, I mean, you're putting her to sleep. Now, I'm not saying that that's a good thing. You should, you know, practice that on your own. But like, is it the worst thing you've ever done in the game? Is electrocuting a cop, which by the way, he electrocutes himself technically, is that the worst thing you've ever done in a video game? Let's get over ourselves for just a second and just accept. And by the way, here's another thing. I don't know if these guys know this, but you don't have to play the game. Now, I don't know. That could just come to a shock to these people. They could, I guess, and that is what they're doing, right? They're saying their piece and they're piecing out, right? However, they really don't even need to do the first part. If you're so violently against the idea, just don't play the game. Just don't play the game if you think it's that bad. Again, the twist in terms of I will say this, the relationship between you and your wife, what it really is, how that's delivered, and then like the ending solution to it, like the actual ending of the game, is not very good. You could probably predict while playing it where it's like it's tone deaf in the way that you know people are going to go after that, and you didn't really do anything to kind of like pad yourself for the backlash you're going to receive. Do you know what I mean? That's how it came off to me. I think it would have worked if there was more to it. There just wasn't. Again, I mean, and that's just that's my opinion on it. You know, people can call me whatever words they want to call me, but I have been pretty consistent with that through the videos of the past 3, 4, 5 days. I am actually not that big of a fan of how the game ended or the twist. I don't think it's very good. But these people that are, you know, basically crying into the void about it, I think are just pretty funny. And again, I think it really does show kind of the double standard. Pick a game. Pick any game. You know, if you think about it, Pokemon, you're capturing animals and you're forcing. I mean, you can make now. Yes, this is a little bit more direct and straightforward than those ones. And then you have people comparing it to that game that just came out like a week or so ago about like the content warning on it. I mean, people are. It's getting crazy online. I should have predicted that something like this was going to happen. I didn't think the game was going to kind of spark this kind of discussion amongst people when it was leading into it, because we didn't really know where they were going to go with the twist. All we knew is that the cop was coming to arrest your wife, and that's kind of it. I thought the general goal was just going to be to prove she's innocent, and that honestly, I didn't actually think how you were going to get out of the time loop, none of that stuff. Maybe I should have, but it's just funny to see these people do it. Again, I mean, and I guess one more time, for the people in the back, for the people not listening, that'll leave the dislike, that'll leave the negative comment, that'll, you know, call me whatever you want to call me. I mean, just remember, you're allowed to say things, you're allowed to feel. And again, I'm not like, this game is not a feel-good game. This is not a Ratchet and Clank game where you're just kind of smiling the entire time you're playing it. So I know it's supposed to invoke feelings. I know these people are saying it basically. It's just funny that they're the ones doing it, and kind of the double standards of it, that they think that there's, you know, that there are just some super evil things going on here. Meanwhile, they've, you know, applauded or praised all these other games in which you've done equally bad things, or equal things just in general happen. It's just funny to see. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Make sure, as always, you guys are subscribed, bell icon turned on. If you guys want to follow me on any of my social media sites, my Twitter community is actually really, really nice. Meanwhile, the rest of Twitter burns to the ground. Podcast Now 15 is my Twitter handle. I have a second YouTube channel called Podcast Now Plus. I upload there daily if you guys want to subscribe there. We also have Patreon and YouTube membership. You get exclusive stuff for supporting us there. All the links for those are in the description below if you guys want to check them out, okay? Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all on the next video.